The Biden administration has enacted the highest Medicare premium hikes in history right before this year's midterm elections. And he wonders why his approval rating is so low. By the way, another thing that he said today was he can't really do anything about inflation tied to gas prices or food prices. So really good campaigning message you got there. Now, let's talk a little bit about what he's been doing with Medicare because it is pretty disastrous. In June of 2021, Biden's FDA ended up approving a drug meant to treat Alzheimer's known as Adalimumab. And the problem with that drug is that it seems like the FDA kind of rushed through the approval for it. There are some mixed studies as to how effective it is. And the cost of the drug, as you can imagine, because we live in the United States, is pretty astronomical. So after the Biden administration's FDA approved it, and even after all of the scientific disputes about the drug, the administration used coverage of that drug under Medicare plans to justify a pretty significant price hike for Medicare. So November of 2021, the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, which administers and oversees Medicare, approved the historic 14.5% premium increase for all Medicare beneficiaries. The announcement noted that, among other reasons, the hike reflects the need to maintain a contingency reserve for unanticipated increases in healthcare spending, particularly certain drug costs, and specifically for the Alzheimer's drug that I mentioned earlier, right? And so again, they used that drug as justification for this insane price hike. A few days later, CMS revealed that the projected cost of Adalimumab was alone responsible for half of the premium increase. The resulting outcry led to the manufacturer of the drug, Biogen, to halve the drug's price the following month. Now, by the time we hit January of this year, Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, or Baccaria, as Biden likes to call him, called on CMS to reassess those premium hikes this year, right? And then by April of 2022, Medicare instituted strict rules regarding who could receive Adalimumab under its plans. Come back to me for a second. Let me be specific about what those strict rules are, because I wanted to dig in deeper, figure out what they meant. They would only cover it if you're taking it as part of a clinical trial. Which, by the way, if you're taking the drug as part of a clinical trial,
why are you paying for it?
Yeah.
That's your trial. I'm the guinea pig. Yes, I might be interested in it because it might help me, and there's no other drug available that it might help as much. That's why we sign up. But it's a clinical trial, so you can make billions in profit.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing you covered. Wow.
Yeah.
In other words, they didn't cover the drug.
And someone who works for CMS made that clear during an interview with CNBC, that that's the only way that they would cover the drug if it's part of a clinical trial. Okay, now around this time, CMS announced a massive 8.5% increase in the rates paid to for-profit Medicare Advantage plans, despite the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission concluding that Medicare Advantage is more costly than traditional Medicare. And so just to give you a sense of how disastrous this is, I mean, they're moving toward privatizing more components of this incredibly popular government healthcare plan, right, Medicare. As Susan Rogers, the president of Physicians for a National Healthcare Program, called out, she says Medicare Advantage insurers such as United Healthcare, Anthem, and CVS Aetna are celebrating record profits in the tens of billions of dollars. Their business plan is simple: inflate their Medicare payments by making seniors look sicker than they are, and then pocket more of those Medicare dollars by ruthlessly denying seniors care. So that's the kind of care that they provide to our seniors. Now, let's get back to the Alzheimer's drug, because it turns out that, as I mentioned, Medicare isn't gonna cover that Alzheimer's drug. And since Medicare isn't gonna cover the drug, how do you justify that insanely high hike in the cost of Medicare per patient? On May 27th, the Biden administration announced that despite the extraordinary premium hikes that stemmed from inaccurate price assumptions, they would not be lowering the monthly premium deducted from Social Security checks, instead saying any overcharges will be factored into next year's Medicare premium calculations.
Sure they will.
Sure they will, yeah.
Just like you told us they would this year. Okay, so of course the question is Biden stupid or corrupt? And
answer is both.
Hint, both, but we'll explain why both. I'm not just being glib about it, okay? There's real reasons we're gonna explain. So first of all, just let's clarify what happened there, okay? All of that is to say, your Medicare bills are going up 14.5%, okay, what you have to pay in. You're getting nothing extra, but the private healthcare companies are getting an 8.5% increase. It's just robbery. It's just taking money from you and giving it to the donors. Now, wait, how do we know they're donors? Well, let me give you graphic 6. So this is the corrupt part. Biden raked in roughly $47 million from healthcare industry executives during his 2020 campaign.
It's quite a bit of cheese.
And now mainstream media reporters will tell you that has nothing to do with anything. No, Biden is not affected by $47 million at all. This is just a coincidence that he happened to screw over the citizens and give all of the money to the same guys who gave him $47 million to run for office. Total coincidence. Every mainstream media reporter will tell you, no, it's not a coincidence, he's a crook. So now, is he a purposeful crook? Does he know he's a crook? No, this gets to the stupid part. So the article that came out the other day about how Biden is befuddled, they're not making it up. It's real. It's real White House sources, etc. And Biden genuinely doesn't understand. He's like, I don't get it, man. I gave everything to corporations and I passed the infrastructure bill they wanted and I did everything that like a corporate goon is supposed to do. Why am I not popular? And if you're thinking, come on, how can anybody be that dumb? But you have to remember the context that Biden has lived his whole life. He has done this hundreds of times. They used to call him the senator from MBNA. That was a credit card company. So he was so corrupt, they named him after a financial institution. And so he would do corporate giveaways, he would screw the American people over every time. And then what would happen? Mainstream media would cover for him. And they would tell you the exact opposite. There's, oh, Joe Biden, average guy from Scranton, originally grew up in Scranton. He takes a train. Did you know he takes a train? A choo-choo train. He did back home to Delaware, okay? Average man, average man. The guy's been in the Senate 50 years, he was vice president. Average Joe, average Joe. They lie on his behalf. So he thinks it's the old world. He thinks it's the 1990s. Why aren't they lying? Well, they are, Joe, but here's what you're missing. Mainstream media is still telling the same exact lies. Did you hear this in mainstream media? No, this is David Sirota's Lever that wrote this story, and we're giving it to you guys. You're never gonna hear this in mainstream media. They're never gonna tell you. And by the way, isn't it interesting? Fox News is never gonna tell you. Wait, shouldn't Fox News beat the living crap out of Biden for this?
No, but they love
but the healthcare companies.
Dismantling anything that helps ordinary Americans, they love it.
Yes, so the Fox News is also a multi-billion-dollar corporation who also receives millions and eventually billions in the long run from those same healthcare companies. So even the Sean Hannitys and the Tucker Carlson's like, shh, don't tell people what the real problem with Joe Biden is. But because of social media and because of all the other factors in media now, people are finding out. And when they find out, they're furious. And bottom line is though, even if they don't know any of these details, Joe, what the F did you do for them? You said you were going to do higher wages, $15 minimum wage. You said voting rights. You said gun control. You said child tax credit. You said paid family. And here's how much of it you did: nothing, zero. And your stupid, befuddled ass is sitting in the White House going, I don't get it, man. I gave them nothing. Why aren't they happy? I don't get it. You know what they're thinking of doing? No joke. They're thinking of moving out Ron Klain, who's the chief of staff, and bringing in a more conservative, more corporate-friendly chief of staff. They're never going to get it because they're paid by these companies to live in this bubble where corporations should receive everything. We should all be screwed, but we should also like it. We should like being screwed by corporate rule. So yeah, then when he loses the election, he's gonna, I don't get it, man. I made Medicare more expensive. It's the second most popular program in the country after Social Security, and I hit it hard, and I delivered nothing for the voters. I swear to God, they genuinely don't get it.
Yeah.
Right now, anybody in the
Cenk, the reason why they don't get it, I'm just gonna keep it real. They don't get it because they have succeeded in screwing us over, very similar to the way Bush-era Republicans would screw you over. And then they'll point to the extreme right and say, but we're better than the extreme right, so you have no choice but to vote for us. I'm done with that. I'm done with that, okay? If we continue rewarding them for using that tactic over and over again, they're gonna keep doing this. So I'm done, I'm done,
I know, but
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm
so
putting that
general
out
elections
there.
are a different thing. In the primaries, you vote against every Democratic incumbent.
They cheat during the primaries, and then you have no choice but to vote for a crappy, corrupt Democrat. And you know what? You do have a choice. The choice is short-term pain by not rewarding these goons who are just corrupt prostitutes. I'm done with it.
I guarantee you, if the White House watched this,
go cry about it.
Okay, what they will actually take away from this is those guys are radicals.
Good, yeah, I'm so radical that I don't want elderly people to die because you guys are dismantling Medicare. I'm so radical. Go ahead and call me radical. You guys are trash, absolute garbage. I know it, the American people know it. Apparently you don't know it, so I'm here to tell you, you're trash. There.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.